News just coming in at this point in time. The BJP is attacking Mamata Banerjee over Bangladesh violence, calls an example of lawlessness being normalized. BJP says lawlessness under Mamata is worrying, posting that the pattern unfolding in Bangladesh is unmistakable. Attacks on media houses, journalists, cultural centers carried out under Islamist pressure and intimidation. This is a warning. This is exactly how societies unravel when extremism is appeased and lawlessness is normalized. It is also why the trajectory of West Bengal under Mamata Banerjee is deeply worrying, says the Bharatiya Janata Party. I'm going to go straight across to Indrajit for more details on that story. The BJP going after Mamata Banerjee, talking about normalization of violence and citing Bengal, or rather Bangladesh as an example, saying that you've done the same pretty much. Indru.
Well, it does not come in as a surprise, does it, Sneha, that, the situation panning out in neighboring Bangladesh will have an impact on politics here in West Bengal. It is something which is a given right now. Given that the SIR process is underway in West Bengal right now, and what we have been hearing from the very beginning, especially from the BJP leaders like Suvendu Adhikari, continuously stating that there would be 1 crore Rohingya Muslims from Bangladesh who had illegally infiltrated West Bengal will be struck off the electoral rolls. So it does not come in as a surprise that whatever is happening in Bangladesh will have a direct bearing on politics here in West Bengal. And therefore the BJP, of course, using this opportunity of the turmoil that we've seen overnight unfolding in Bangladesh, to attack and corner the Mamata Banerjee government here on this part of the border.
All right, I'm going to leave it there for the moment. Rijit Kundu getting us those details. But be with us. I'll just come back to you for more on the story which is developing from, Bangladesh at this point in time. Let's take a look. Protesters march towards India's border. Protesters marching towards the Benapole area, the Indo-Bangladesh border. Against the death of Hari, the situation becoming extremely difficult at this point in time vis-a-vis the anti-India hate which is being witnessed on the streets of Dhaka and other places from Bangladesh. I'm going to bring in Indrajit once again. This is indeed worrying. Tell us what are the kind of measures that the Indian authorities are now taking to keep these, this unruly mob really at bay, Indru.
Well, these have been happening since yesterday. There have been, stone pelting incident at the Assistant High Commissioner's office, Indian High Commissioner's office in Chittagong. We are hearing that similar protests are taking place outside the Assistant High Commissioner's, office in Rajshahi. There is, of course, massive security deployment outside the main, Indian Envoy's office. That is the Indian High Commission in Dhaka. There is the Bangladesh Army deployed, there is Border Guards Bangladesh, and of course the Dhaka Metropolitan Police. So it's not today, but for the past 3 days we have seen protests taking place outside the Indian High Commission in Bangladesh. There is massive amounts of anti-India sentiment right now, especially in the backdrop of Sharif Hadi's death. Now, there is a section of politicians in Bangladesh who are clearly and categorically blaming India. They're saying that the assailants, the unidentified assailants who killed Osman Hadi, they have the backing of the Awami League, which is based in India right now, and the government in India has given shelter to Sheikh Hasina. They're saying that one of the prime accused in this case have fled to India. He's untraceable. So these are things that are coming up, as far as the narrative in Bangladesh is concerned. And, several political parties and organizations are only fueling this further, the anti-India sentiment further. This is a common trend in Bangladesh politics, not new. Anybody who has watched or followed Bangladesh politics for over decades now would be able to tell you that whenever Bangladesh is in a crossroad, politicians in Bangladesh use India to stir up emotions, use anti-India sentiment.
Well, which is evident, isn't it? Indrajit, I'll come back to you for more on that, but for the moment I'm going to wrap up this story because we are now going to be shifting focus to what's making news as far as the markets are concerned. And for that, as always, Sakshi is with us. My colleague there from Business Today with all the updates of the markets. Over to you, Sakshi.
Thank you, Sarah. Hello and welcome. You're watching the collab show between Business Today and India Today Television. It's 3 p.m. and we are here to get you all the market closing action. But first up, let's take a look at what's hot in the corporate and the financial world. Adani Airports reveals massive $11 billion plan to bid for another 11 airports. India Today Television's Maria Shakil brings you an exclusive chat with Jeet Adani from the Navi Mumbai Airport, which is set to open its doors on 25th of this month. Watch the full interview this evening at 6:30 p.m. After 4 consecutive sessions of losses, stock markets rebound with Sensex jumping 400 points and the Nifty approaching the 26,000 mark. Pharma stocks gain on the US Biosecure Act, while the auto as well as the oil and gas sector also see strong buying interest today. ICICI Prudential AMC makes a strong debut on the D Street, listing at 2,600 rupees per share, 20% higher premium than the IPO price of 2,165 rupees per share on the NSE. Prudential Corp Holdings sold 4.89 crore shares at the issue price, while ICICI Bank plans to retain majority stake. Big news for PSU banks. The government will be selling stake in Central Bank, UCO Bank as well as Punjab and Sindh Bank via offer for sale to meet SEBI's 25% public shareholding norms. Also, the move is expected to raise 14,000 crore rupees for the government, says the Finance Ministry sources. India's FY26 net direct tax collections rise 8% to 17.05 lakh crore rupees as of December 17, driven by strong corporate tax growth as well as lower refunds. Advanced tax collections also see a 4.3% increase, reflecting steady economic activity and tax reforms. Onto a big story this afternoon, a week before it opens the Navi Mumbai Airport for commercial operations. Adani Enterprises has in fact revealed plans to bid for another 11 airports that the government plans to lease to the private sector. The company has also said the move will be part of its $11 billion expansion strategy for airport infrastructure over the next 5 years. The airport being leased out include Varanasi and Amritsar as well. Adani currently operates 7 airports around the country, and the Navi Mumbai Airport, opening on 25th of December, will be its 8th as well. India Today Television has meanwhile got a treat for you this evening at 6:30 p.m. when you can watch an exclusive chat with Jeet Adani, the director at Adani Airport Holdings. We're now joined by Maria Shakil, who interviewed the 28-year-old Jeet. Good afternoon to you, Maria. Well, that's a big exclusive. Congratulations to you. We are all looking forward to that interview this evening. Give us an understanding of what was the mood like when you interviewed Jeet, and, you know, what was on top of his mind right ahead of the much-anticipated Navi Mumbai Airport launch?
Yeah, so the Navi Mumbai Airport actually will be seeing almost like 20 to 25 flights take off and land on the big launch day, which is the Christmas day, 25th. I did ask all these questions to Jeet Adani, the timing and, of course, the concerns which has been there, actually, with regards to that the Adani group has been in the ports. Why did they venture into airports? Because he leads that vertical, he heads that vertical. There was a lot of clarity with which he spoke, and he elaborated about their big plans, which will be about, acquisitions, which will be also about the the strategic assets or investments that the Adani Group has so far done. So he spoke about it elaborately, highlighting multiple aspects of the infrastructure challenges as well. Because Navi Mumbai International Airport has the challenge with regards to ecology and also environment. It's also on the flood plains. I did ask him questions with regards to that, how do they actually balance the environmental concerns with regards to investment, and growth. He did elaborate and explain on that front as well. But questions with regards to strategic assets which have been acquired by Adani's and why they think that this particular airport will not be just about another airport being unveiled in Mumbai. It will be more strategic in terms of its placement, in terms of ensuring that the communities come together in terms of ensuring better connectivity. So all that and much more perhaps at 6:30 p.m. and 10 p.m. tonight for our viewers.
Absolutely. Well, thanks a lot, Maria. We are looking forward to all of that. And all our viewers, you must definitely catch up onto that interview at 6:30 p.m. Thanks a lot, Maria, for that. Let's move across and look at how the Adani Group stocks are reacting at this point in time. Remember, this evening, the story will be on Jeet Adani, exploring and detailing for all you viewers as to what are the plans when it comes to the $11 billion expansion strategy for the airport infrastructure, as well as on the Navi Mumbai airport. Right now, if you look at all the Adani Group stocks, they are showing you a sign of green. Adani Enterprises, 0.5% higher. Adani Ports, about 0.10% up. Adani Power, Adani Green. Ambuja Cements also inching up higher in trade. So the mood across the Adani Group stocks is positive right there. You can also see Adani Energy about 1.5% higher in trade. Barring just about Adani Total Gas and ACC that are tad weak, rest all of the stocks within the Adani Group are actually showing us a green tick at this point in time. Let me actually go across to our guest right now, Abhishek Basu Malik, the co-founder and fund manager at Sri Rama Managers, to give me a view on the Adani Group stocks first, and then we can talk about the markets at large as well. Abhishek, of course, this much anticipated airport is going to get launched on 25th. We are going to be seeing that exclusive chart on India Today at 6:30 p.m. Of course, more details on that. How are you looking at the mood in the Adani Group? Finally, they are stepping up the pedal when it comes to their, $11 billion infrastructure strategy, starting off with airports. We are also given to understand the other 11 airports that the government is looking to lease out to the private sector. That is also on top of the mind of Adani Group. They are going to be bidding aggressively for all of them.
So, good afternoon to you and all your viewers. See, I think Adani Group has been very, very, aggressive in terms of any space which is there in the infrastructure related areas. So, whether it is ports, whether it is cement, airports, that's been their focus area for the last few years. And I think airports or expansion in airports is just an extension of what they've been following as a group strategy. So if you look at the model that they are following, they are looking at it from a perspective of very high capex required, not too many players, and once you have all the assets on the ground, then it's sort of your ability to manage and get benefits out of those assets. That's especially those very large capital assets. That is the model that they are following, and I would expect that today it is airports, tomorrow they could get into other infrastructure related areas where capital is capital and execution are both important.
Absolutely. Let's actually also look at the markets right now. 25,967, again inching towards that 26,000 mark. We are 151 points higher in trade. That's despite all the weakness and the choppiness that we've seen all through this week. Friday is turning out to be in a better mood right ahead of the weekend there. Abhishek, how are you looking at the current sentiment on the D Street? Santa rally has so far been away from us. Do you think the next week we could finally see some festive cheer back on the D Street?
We could see, but I don't see, a lot of many major changes unless we see a, US tariff deal getting completed. Otherwise, we are, probably stuck in a range. The range, right now we are bouncing back from the bottom, probably, or the lower end of the range, probably now getting again back to the higher levels. But unless we get a trade deal, and we get more positive sentiment going our way, I think we are stuck in this range for some time to come.
Okay, got that. Any key sectors that come on top of your mind right now, which you would believe that are on point and on course to continue to perform well in the new year 2026? What would gauge your attention at this point?
Yeah, I think we have to keep looking at infrastructure. Capital goods, engineering, chemicals. So basically the core sectors, I think that's where the focus is: defense, railways. And these are also the sectors that will probably benefit from the budget, which is going to be the next big event, that's going to come up. So these are the the main sectors that we are looking at.
Okay. The mid and the small caps have also inched higher to the day's high point. You also marked out infra and defense. All of those sectors are also inching up. But specifically on the mid and the small caps, I wanted to ask you, this has been a year of just modest returns or very low returns when it comes to the broader markets. Small caps, in fact, have had their worst performance in the last 7-8 years in terms of the performance that they have given. And this is where sentiments have turned sour for retail investors that had a large portion of their exposure to mid and small caps. How would you look at the mid and small caps performance in 2026?
I would, expect that they will be better than 2025. This is the nature of the markets. I mean, we've had actually a number of years where mid and small caps, even large caps, had done really, really well. So 2025, or say from around August, September 2024 onwards, we've been seeing a fair deal of stress. Even we can call it a bear market for the last, say, about 16, 18 months. And hopefully that will sort of, that's probably coming to an end. Maybe it will come to an end along with, once we announce the trade deal, once we see more, announcements on the budget to boost consumption. At least that's what the government intent seems to be. So once these things are in place, we could see again move up on the mid and small caps.
Okay. Let's turn to some developments, viewers, in terms of the communication and the satellite space now. And global satellite communications firm Eutelsat or OneWeb has said that it is moving ahead with the plans for its Gen 2 satellite constellation, with new technologies expected to go live by 2027. The company has said some of these next-gen satellites could be launched from ISRO's facilities in India. And that's what Neha Idnani, the regional vice president for APAC, in conversation with Business Today Television's Aishwarya Patil, has said. Let's listen in to the conversation and the expert.
The Gen 1 constellation has been launched. Over 600 satellites, close to that or thereabouts, have been launched. What plans about Gen 2 and your way forward for India? I would like to speak more on APAC, but first off, if you could begin by telling us about your Gen 2 plans and India plans.
As you correctly pointed out, it doesn't stop with Generation 1. We are continuously investing money and resources on the future of our constellation, which is what you call Gen 2. So in essence, this stems from the fact that as an organization, we've always seen satellite as like a telco network from space. So it's built on continuity and continuous improvement. So even before our Generation 2 comes in, we're already looking at launching a few hundred more satellites for replenishing our existing Generation 1 satellites before Gen 2 gets launched. There are another, over and above those 100 satellites, another 340 satellites contracted for further enhancement in our network. So a lot of development of new features, new enabling technologies before even Gen 2 goes live. This happens in the 2027 timeframe itself. Then comes Gen 2, or what we also call the IRIS² program, because we've been selected by the European Commission to be their LEO of choice, not just today, but in the future as well. So Gen 2 or IRIS² is the program that starts from 2030.
Right, let me go back to Abhishek and try and understand from him what exactly should one be really looking at this interesting space. Abhishek, of course, telecom, satellites, these are going to be the buzzwords for the next couple of years. We've seen global giants betting big on India, launching their own products right here. We are actually looking at taking the way we communicate extremely on a next level now, going forward from here. What opportunities as an investor are you scouting in this space now?
So right now, I don't see any real opportunity in the listed space directly. Right, there are some picks and shovels kind of companies. There could be, players like Adani, etc., who supply to creating, part of the space program, but nothing which is directly, investable as a company. So these are things that I think, over the years we will see, companies, and India is actually doing a lot of good work on the space side. So maybe a few years down the line, we'll see a few of these companies coming out with their IPO. So till then, we just, keep reading up on stuff that's happening in the space, and nothing really much to do from an action perspective.
Okay, fair point. Let me also just bring up some of the other key stocks and sectors that we could be looking at and navigating through, at this point in time. I wanted to ask you on the PSU banking space also, Abhishek. The entire day we focused on the PSU banking stocks, and these stocks have been in flavor for a couple of months now because of what has been the big anticipation on mergers of all these banks, and of course, the thought process on the foreign ownership that could be seen at a higher level. Now, today what we are given to understand is that reports have already indicated that the government has now shortlisted 3 banks at least for further offer for sale, kind of a stake sale that could be coming in and announced in the next couple of weeks. Now, how are you looking at the PSU banks there? The banks in question are Canara Bank, UCO Bank, Punjab and Sindh Bank to start off with. How would you look at this story?
I think, earlier this week when I was on your show, I was mentioning exactly this point, that the idea for the PSU, some of these PSU banks, is that we will probably get in either foreign investors or larger investors coming in, through an OFS, so that it sort of increases the depth of the funding that is there within each of these banks. And over time, I think it's going to be beneficial for them, because right now I think we are too fragmented in terms of size and scale in the PSU banking space. So you have like one or maybe 2 or 3 large players, and then a lot of these smaller mid-sized players, and a few which are much smaller. So the idea I think that the government now has is to merge the smaller and the mid-sized ones slowly, and then maybe do some stake sale, or get in strategic investors. Already we are seeing in the private space a lot of foreign interest coming in, whether it's Shriram Finance or RBL Bank or Yes Bank. So this is something that is going to be very interesting to foreign investors, foreign portfolio, for foreign direct investors over the next few years, because we do have actually quite strong banks, but they're not very large in scale. So the opportunity is to sort of, take them and make them big.
Okay, fair point. Let's shift focus to the entertainment sector, viewers. And in a freewheeling chat with Business Today Television, PVR Inox Managing Director Ajay Bijli has said that Dhurandhar has been an icing on the cake in bringing in audiences back to the cinemas. He's also added that he actually expects the Q3 numbers to be seen in a better light for PVR Inox, with December releases now driving maximum of the footfalls and strengthening the balance sheet. You can also watch the entire podcast on Business Today, YouTube and on social media platforms. But here's an excerpt for you.
I see that big smile. Is it because of the return of audience back to theatres in full force because of Dhurandhar?
Yeah, I mean, I was always optimistic about, audiences coming back, and not just Dhurandhar. Dhurandhar, of course, is a big bonus. Avatar is releasing tomorrow. The advances are very, very strong. But this financial year itself, we've seen a lot of mid-budget movies which have done very well. So that excites me more than blockbusters doing well, because blockbusters are meant to do well, and of course some of them disappoint. But when smaller movies like Sanyara, Mahavatar, Narsimha, all these movies did exceedingly well, made with very small budgets, great storytelling, and across 300 crores, 400 crores, and audiences, lapped on to these movies. That's much more heartening. So, that's been more exciting. Dhurandhar, of course, is an icing on the cake. And luckily, every December, we find one movie it was Animal, last year and a year before last rather, and then you had Pushpa 2. In any case, it was meant to be good, and this time we have Dhurandhar, and but I was smiling even when things were not going okay. Don't worry about that.
How is the movie business currently in India? Do you see it on a scale of profitability?
I think, the fact that our first half is already delivered, and I'm giving you numbers in the public domain, around 450 crores of EBITDA has already been declared. Third quarter has started very well. As you know, 2 months, October probably was one of our best months. December will probably be one of our best months of all time, the way it's going just now. The fact that 8 million people have already visited our cinemas. So I don't think those survival conversations are up to date.
All right, so there you see Ajay Bijli talking about how December could be one of the best months that they've ever seen because of these massive releases that they have seen. Abhishek, coming back to you, PVR Inox, we do know how theatres business had been really crawling and feeling all that pinch from OTT business all across last 4 or 5 years or so. Of course, there have been also a lull on the releases as far as Bollywood is concerned and Hollywood is concerned over the last couple of years. But slowly and gradually, things are picking up pace over the last 1 year. And this year also, we have had Avatar, we have had Dhurandhar, which Ajay Bijli is talking about. I mean, even about 1 week running so far, or 2 weeks running so far, we are already seeing that the theatres are all full at this point in time, which actually goes on to show that good cinema will continue to attract people and footfalls in the theatres nevertheless. Help us understand, how would you look at a stock like PVR Inox? Today it's up by 1.4%.
Short term, obviously, it's reaping the benefits of some of the movies that have done really well. Obviously, Dhurandhar has been doing really well. Yeah. But I think long term, I'm not that bullish because they are finding it difficult to actually engage with the audience. Most of the time, you will not get good content coming continuously. So it's going to be a tougher and tougher business. So if you look at PVR, Inox, or if you look at any of the other people who are in this business, they are trying different formats. They're trying dining, fine dining, along with movies. They're trying to bring back the old movies for special shows, etc. The whole idea is that there is a paucity of good content, and that is one. And the second is, I think a lot of people, especially the younger generation, have moved on to OTT, and the quality of content is very different. It's probably more engaging, and you can watch it at your own time. Also, it's less expensive. So, a combination of all of these things put together. So I think that the movie theater business is going to struggle to really get back to its heydays. Okay,
we'll definitely take that. Now, Abhishek, help me understand. We're just about 3 minutes to go before the market shuts off for the day. If I have to ask you, for all our audiences watching you as they are prepared for the new year upcoming, what is the strategy that you would tell them, and where do you see outperformance coming in? I mean, this year so far, we've just managed to see a single high-digit return on the Nifty. But at the same time, like we've discussed, mid and small caps have not had such a good day, a good year. When we talk about the other asset classes, gold and silver have actually had a tremendous amount of up move that we have seen in this year. In fact, in 1 year, silver has doubled investors' money. If somebody had invested in silver ETF on day 1 of 2025, by the end, they're sitting on 100% profits right there. So looking at all of these current situations, what is it that you would advise an average retail investor having a pot of cash in their hands and looking, where should I be putting in that money?
So obviously, I mean, the first thing that I tell anyone and everyone is that if you are coming to the equity markets, you need to have a longer time horizon. You should not be investing if you have less than 5 years of time horizon. So because markets are volatile, you definitely need to give it time. Also, for retail investors, it's a good idea to have some amount of diversification across asset classes. So maybe a little bit of gold, a little bit of silver, some FDs, bonds, etc., along with equity. Now that decision has to be taken based on an individual's risk appetite, their own financial condition. So there's no one simple answer for everyone. There are people who are very happy with 100% equity. There are people who are who have 100% debt. So that's the uh, what I would suggest is take your time, do SIPs, continue with SIPs in your direct portfolio or your mutual fund portfolio, whatever you have, and keep buying into the into good companies, good stocks, stocks where there is good return on equity, good growth, and reasonable valuation. So basically, if you are focusing on very simple parameters, uh, and do your stock picking, don't buy hope and don't buy stories. Uh, I think mostly you should be good.
Okay, let's quickly wrap up the markets for now, and then we'll come back to Abhishek with a lot of queries that are coming in for all our viewers there. 25,960 there, viewers, at the closing bell, as what you see at 330 right there on the Nifty. We're also looking at about a 0.5% of an uptick. So we managed, despite some choppiness, to close about 0.5% higher on the Nifty. The Nifty Bank slightly lower, but 0.2% higher on the Nifty Bank as well, with especially the PSU Bank supporting the kind of rally. IT stocks 0.1% higher in trade. Real estate, in fact, came out to be the best performer in trade as far as the move is concerned. Mid and small caps inched higher, definitely outperformed the Nifty as well as the Nifty Bank there. Look at the real estate. It ended at the day's high point, 1.6% higher. You can also see the autos that pulled up some speed towards the end of the session as well. The auto index also ended higher by almost 1.3% up in trade, and huge volumes being seen there. Oil and gas, in fact, all the sectors, that's a good news. All the sectors managed to end today into the green after days of seeing weakness on the street. Look at the defense index powering through, 2% higher in trade today. So it's panned out to be a great day. On the Nifty, which are the numbers that you need to see? You need to see Shriram Finance. Of course, that's this entire stake purchase from MUFG News that powered up the stock up by 3.7%. You had BEL from the defense story, 2.5% higher. Power Grid, 2% up in trade. These were the top movers as far as the markets are concerned. On the lagging front, you just had about 6-8 stocks. So the entire broader market spirit was in the green. HCL Tech, Hindalco, JSW Steel, Kotak Mahindra Bank and ICICI Bank, these were the top laggards in trade today, but a larger breadth was definitely up and about. In fact, even the railways were up and about. RVNL, IRFC, you looked at all the railway story, defense story, all those erstwhile favorites, they came back in trade. But let's go across to taking our viewers' questions with Abhishek. Now, Mitesh from Bhopal says, Abhishek sir, ICICI Prudential AMC IPO, a bumper listing. Should I sell my holding or should I continue to hold on?
So that depends on why you've bought it in the first place. If you bought it with a medium to long term horizon, you can hold on. The interesting part here is this is right now about a 1 lakh crore market cap company. It's one of the leaders in its space. So even and India is going through a phase of where the equity culture or the investment culture is growing. So these are companies which are bellwethers in their industry. It's not very expensive. So there's no harm in actually holding on to this over the long term.
Okay, let's take the next question. Naveen from Mumbai says, auto and auto ancillaries or PSU banks, which sector looks better for the next 6 months to 1 year?
I think both look, very good. Auto ancillaries are definitely doing well. Auto ancillaries are actually, moving away from supporting the Indian markets to global. Banks, of course, PSU banks, like we discussed today, is quite in a good spot. So both look to be in a good space for the next few months.
Okay, last question for you, Abhishek, on the show. This is from Akriti from Patna. She wants to ask you, is a momentum rally possible in FMCG stocks ahead of the union budget in February?
Very, very unlikely. FMCG by nature is a defensive, sector, and usually we don't see a very large momentum coming into FMCG. The second problem with FMCG in India is that most of the bigger brands are very, very large companies. So it takes a lot of buy institutions to move the stock meaningfully. So it's not that easy to get a momentum-led rally in FMCG.
Okay, all right. Thank you so much, Abhishek, for being with us on the show and for guiding all our viewers there. With that, viewers, it's a wrap on the Business Today show. And in case you too have any questions about investments, mutual funds or SIPs, send me your questions right here. The details are flashing on your screens, the number where you can send me all your questions. And also don't forget to catch the market opening action tomorrow morning at 9 a.m. with Abba Bakaya.
Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. A very warm welcome to you on Friday. The shade is dark green on the Lal Street, and it's a very, very welcome change from the past 5, 7, 10 trading sessions that have gone past us in this